May 10th, 2026. Spotify Camp Nou. Barcelona 2, Real Madrid 0. The final whistle blows. The Catalan capital erupts. And 32-year-old Portuguese right-back falls to his knees. João Cancelo has just done something no footballer in the history of the sport has ever accomplished. He has won 4 of Europe's 5 biggest leagues, the Premier League, Serie A, the Bundesliga, and now LaLiga. 31 titles across clubs and country. A Champions League. A Nations League. 3 Premier Leagues back-to-back-to-back. But here is what the celebratory headlines won't tell you about João Cancelo. 2 years ago, he was sitting in the Saudi Pro League, his European career seemingly over. 3 years before that, he had a public falling out with Pep Guardiola and was banished from Manchester City, accused of being unmanageable, difficult, toxic. He was, according to the British press, finished. Now he stands alone in football history. He is the first player, to conquer 4 of the 5 major European championships. The man nobody wanted has become the man who has won almost everything. This is the story of João Cancelo, the league collector, the prodigal son, and the quietest record breaker in modern football. Here is what no one was talking about when Cancelo was sitting on the bench at Manchester City, frozen out by the man who had made him world-class. He grew up in Barreiro, a working-class industrial town across the Tagus River from Lisbon. His father, a football lover who played amateur, passed on the obsession. By the time Cancelo was 10, he was already at Benfica's vaunted academy, Seixal. But the path to stardom was anything but linear. At Benfica, he barely played. 2 appearances for the first team. That was it. He was loaned to Valencia, then sold. Shipped from Portugal to Spain to Italy to England. Always moving, always adapting. By the time he was 24, he had already played for 4 clubs in 4 different countries. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, one of the few players who has also won league titles in multiple countries, once summed up the massive difficulty of doing what Cancelo has done. He knew how to do it in Italy. He knew how to do it in Spain. He knew how to do it in France. Each league requires a completely different football brain, Ibrahimovic said. Cancelo's brain, it turned out, was not just adaptable. It was chameleonic. At Benfica, he won his first Portuguese league title in 2013-14, though he made only 1 senior appearance that season. At Juventus, he won Serie A in 2018-19 and was named to the Serie A Team of the Year. At Manchester City under Guardiola, he became arguably the best fullback in the world, winning 3 consecutive Premier Leagues and the Champions League in the treble-winning 2022-23 season. But here is the detail that changes everything. That last title, the treble-winning Premier League, he didn't actually finish the season at City. He was in Munich, winning the Bundesliga. 2 leagues, 1 season, the same year. To understand how rare Cancelo's achievement is, you have to understand the history of football's most exclusive club. Before Cancelo, only a handful of players had won 3 of Europe's major leagues. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Italy, Spain, France. Arjen Robben, Spain, England, Germany. Arturo Vidal, Spain, Italy, Germany. But 4? Nobody. Not Pelé. Not Maradona. Not Messi. Not Ronaldo. The challenge is not just about talent. It's about timing. About luck. About being in the right place at the right moment and being good enough to survive when you're not. Unfortunately, I didn't achieve it when I was here last time, Cancelo told ESPN before the Clásico that would seal his place in history. I hope this season I can win a long-awaited La Liga title and add that next trophy to the cabinet. He had already tried and failed to win La Liga during his first loan spell at Barcelona in 2023-24. The team collapsed. The title slipped away. But in January 2026, at 31 years old, with his European career supposedly fading, he did something unexpected. He left the Saudi Pro League. He took a massive pay cut, and he returned to Barcelona on a 6-month loan from Al Hilal, determined to finish what he had started. There is no culture of drawing here, he said before the decisive Clásico. We always go out to win the game. Let me take you back to the moment that defined Cancelo's mentality, because it has nothing to do with trophies. He was 18 years old, sitting on the bench at Benfica, watching his teammates warm up for a match he knew he wouldn't start. Most young players in that situation accept their role. They wait. They learn. They stay quiet. Cancelo didn't. He knocked on the manager's door. He demanded minutes. He was told to be patient. He refused. Within a year, he was gone, first on loan to Valencia, then sold permanently. Over the course of his career, Cancelo has played for 8 different clubs and been involved in transfers totaling around 145 million euros. That is not the CV of a settled player, but it is the CV of a survivor. His loan to Valencia in 2014 could have broken him. It was a new country, a new language, a new style of football. His first season, he made only 10 LaLiga appearances. He was raw, defensively suspect. Portuguese journalists called him a luxury player, all attack, no discipline. But Valencia saw something else. After the loan expired, they paid 15 million euros to keep him permanently. Cancelo had done something remarkable. He had turned a temporary exile into a permanent home. That pattern would repeat itself for the rest of his career. Every time a club discarded him, he found a way to prove them wrong. Except for one, and that one nearly broke him completely. Now, let me show you the evidence, because the numbers are staggering. At Manchester City, under Pep Guardiola, from 2019 to 2022, Cancelo played the best football of his life. During the 2020-21 Premier League title season, he provided the decisive pass in 4 separate matches. At that point, the PFA Team of the Year included an article titled, "João Cancelo's Sublime 2021 Form Has Redefined the Full-Back Role." Guardiola called him exceptional. But the pinnacle came in 2022-23, the treble season. Cancelo started the campaign as an indispensable starter. He was the kind of player Guardiola trusted implicitly. And then, in January 2023, everything collapsed. I'm going to get to the fall. But first, the numbers. Across his time at Manchester City, 3 Premier Leagues, 1 Champions League, 1 FA Cup, 2 League Cups, 1 UEFA Super Cup, 1 FIFA Club World Cup. At Juventus, 1 Serie A, 1 Italian Super Cup. At Bayern Munich, on a 6-month loan, 1 Bundesliga. At Barcelona, 1 LaLiga, 1 Spanish Super Cup, plus the 2019 UEFA Nations League with Portugal. By the end of the 2025-26 season, Cancelo had amassed 31 official trophies at club and international level. At 32 years old, that is not a player who stumbled into success. That is a player who hunted it down, country after country, league after league, challenge after challenge. And yet, when you ask Cancelo which manager transformed him the most, he gives the same answer every time. Guardiola. Fale com ele no Mundial de Clubes, tenho muita admiração por ele por me ter feito chegar ao maior nível. Tyro o sumo tudo que tinha. Nunca pensei atingir aqueles níveis, atingi o su. I spoke with him at the Club World Cup. I have a lot of admiration for him for taking me to the highest level. He extracted all the juice I had. I never thought I'd reach those levels. I reached heaven. But heaven, it turned out, had a very short lease. This is where the story turns from triumph to exile. January 2023. Cancelo has just returned from the World Cup in Qatar. He is playing the best football of his career. But something has shifted. In the dressing room. In Guardiola's tactics. In Cancelo's head. I vim do mundial, eu Mr. Tivemos bait boca, uma discusso. Ele neo me queria mais lá, decidi ser para o Bayern, Cancelo later admitted on Portuguese television. I came back from the World Cup, the boss and I had a heated argument. He didn't want me there anymore. I decided to leave for Bayern. The details are now public. After 3 consecutive matches on the bench, against Tottenham, against Wolves, against Arsenal in the FA Cup, something snapped. According to the Daily Mail, Cancelo was overwhelmed with disagreement. He confronted Guardiola. He demanded answers. Guardiola's response was brutal. Neo está satisfeito contigo nos treinos y neo contava mais comigo. I'm not happy with you in training. I'm not counting on you anymore. Cancelo packed his bags. Bayern Munich activated a loan deal within days. The British press wrote obituaries for his European career. Toxic. Unmanageable. Finished. The irony is that Cancelo's numbers at City were still elite, 9 goals and 21 assists across 3.5 seasons under Guardiola. But numbers don't fix relationships. And this relationship was irreparable. Para muitos a vida pessoal e secundaria, mas para mim neo, Cancelo said. For many, personal life is secondary, but for me it's not. He was not just leaving a club. He was leaving the man who had made him. And that wound would take years to heal. The following summer, he was loaned again, this time to Barcelona. Then, after another falling out, he was sold to Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia. From the Etihad to the Riyadh, from treble winner to exile. It was supposed to be the end. But here is where the story turns again. January 2026. Cancelo is 31 years old. The Saudi season is midway through. He has 1 year left on his contract. Barcelona, the club he had tried to save 2 years earlier, calls again. The club told me they couldn't afford me, he later revealed. But Barcelona found a way. Cancelo took a pay cut. He left the Saudi millions. He returned to Europe for one final shot at history. The first half of the 2025-26 season was slow. Cancelo looked rusty, out of rhythm. Barcelona fans questioned why the club had brought back a fading veteran. Then something clicked. In the run-in to the title, Cancelo became indispensable. He started every big match. He locked down the right flank. He provided the assists that broke open tight games. And on May 10, 2026, with Barcelona needing a win against Real Madrid to clinch the title, Cancelo played the match of his life. 90 minutes, 0 mistakes, a performance that reminded everyone why Guardiola once called him the best left-back in the world, even though he played on the right. The final whistle blew. Barcelona were champions, and João Cancelo had done it. He had won the Premier League, Serie A, the Bundesliga, LaLiga, 4 of the 5 big European leagues. The only one missing? League One. It's too late for that now. But as he fell to his knees on the Camp Nou pitch, the weight of the achievement seemed to hit him all at once. He was not supposed to be here. He was supposed to be finished, forgotten. Another talented troublemaker who burned out before his time. Instead, he is the first player in history to win 4 of Europe's 5 major leagues. The league collector, the record breaker, the man who was thrown away by the best coach in the world got back up and wrote his name in the history books. Here is what I want you to take away from this story. João Cancelo has been called difficult, hard to manage, not a team player. His fallout with Guardiola in 2023 could have ended him. Most players in that situation fade into obscurity, bouncing from mid-table club to mid-table club, never recovering their form. Cancelo did something else. He kept winning. Not in the same place, not in the same league, but everywhere. I have a special affection for the club, he said of Barcelona. Benfica and Barca are the clubs I dreamed of playing for. And now he has won league titles for both. The question that football historians will debate for years is not whether Cancelo is the most talented full-back of his generation. It's whether his achievement for top-flight league championships in 4 different countries will ever be matched. Zlatan Ibrahimovic couldn't do it. Arjen Robben couldn't do it. Arturo Vidal couldn't do it. The list of players who have won 3 is already vanishingly small. To win 4, you need more than talent. You need timing. You need luck. You need the ability to walk into a dressing room in a new country, a new culture, a new language, and immediately earn the respect of teammates who don't know you. Cancelo has done that 4 times. Italy, England, Germany, Spain. For countries, for championships. 1 player. 8 Aqui Neo Me Arrependo, he said after leaving City. I don't regret anything. And why would he? 31 titles. A Champions League. A Nations League. A place in football history that belongs to him alone. The league collector. The record breaker. The man who was supposed to be finished. João Cancelo has written the final chapter of his career in gold. And somewhere in Manchester, Pep Guardiola is probably shaking his head, not in anger, but in grudging respect. So here's my question to you. Will anyone ever match João Cancelo's record of winning 4 of Europe's major leagues? And do you think he deserves more credit for his achievement, or does the Guardiola fallout still define his legacy? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of football's most unique careers, a player who collected leagues the way others collect cards, subscribe to the channel for more stories from a global game. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.